So to summarize, the net present value method, the internal rate of return method, and the profitability method will generally give us the same decision. However, there are some exceptions. One is when we have non-conventional cash flows, and that means cash flows that change sign more than once. And we showed that through the net present value profile, we can diagnose whether or not that can give us a problem. If it does, the problem that we may experience is multiple IRR. And the only way to determine whether multiple IRR is a problem is by drawing the net present value profile. If that happens, we will need to compute something called the modified IRR. Another situation when these three methods do not give us the same decisions is when we are working with mutually exclusive projects. And mutually exclusive projects, the reason why they will give us different ranking is because sometimes the projects has very different size. So this is a scale or size problem. So a 10% return on a $100 investment is very different than a 5% return on a $100,000 investment. So remember that the net present value give us the value in dollar terms, the internal rate of return gives us a percentage return, and the profitability index give us a ratio. So the scale problem affects both the IRR and the profitability index because they don't give us in dollar term what the value of a project is. The other is problem exists when the timing of cash flow is substantially different. And this affects internal rate of return method a lot more than the profitability index method. So in this video, we're going to first address this problem. When we have non-conventional cash flows and we have multiple IRR, how do we address that? So when we have unconventional cash flow and resulting in multiple IRR, a solution is to compute something called the modified IRR. The modified IRR is computed using 3 steps. In the first step, we discount all the cash outflows to year 0. So this will be negative cash flows. And then we will compound all positive cash flow, so cash inflows, to the end of the project. So this is step 1, step 2, and then step 3 is to compute the implied interest rate. And the implied interest rate is the modified IRR. So let's take a look at an example. A project has the following cash flow. So you change it, the cash flow changes sign more than once. So it was negative, you have cash outflow in year 0, and then positive cash flow in year 1, negative cash flow in year 2, and positive cash flow in year 3. And since the cash flow change sign more than once, we'll need to compute the modified IRR. The discount rate for this project is 12%. So to compute the IRR, we need to do 3 steps. The first step is to discount all the cash outflow to year 0. So we have 2 cash outflow. In year 0 is $100, and then in year 2 is $200. The cash flow in year 0 is already in year 0, so we don't have to do any discounting to bring it back. So it's just negative $100. The $200 outflow in year 2, we need to discount that back. So this is a discounting problem. The $200 that occurs in year 2, and the discount rate is 12%. So 200 becomes our future value, and it occurs in year 2. So 2n, and the discount rate is 12%, and we want to compute the present value. So the present value is $159.44. So that's where this comes from. So together, our total cash outflow in year 0, because this is present value in year 0, is minus $259.44. And we have to do the same thing for the cash flow the positive cash flow in year 1 and year 3. So let's reset our calculator first. And year 1, we have $150, so that's our present value. Our interest rate is 12%, And we want to find the future value as of year 3. So between year 1 and year 3, there are 2 years. So n is 2, and we are computing the future value. So the future value of the $150 by the time it compounds to year 3 is worth $188.16. So that's where this number comes from. So this is future value at the end of year 3. The $180 is already in year 3, so we don't have to do any adjustments. So this is already year 3 value. So notice that how we compute all the outflows into year 0 and all the inflows at the end of the project in year 3. So these are the two numbers we need now. So we have done step 1 and step 2. We have computed present value of cash outflows for year 0 and future value of inflows for year 3. So now we are at the last step, step 3. We have an investment that lasts 3 years. In year 0, we have summarized all the cash outflow to be $259.44. In year 3, we have summarized all the cash inflow to be $368.16. Now we need to compute the implied interest rate. And this interest rate is our modified IRR. So again, we'll enter this into our calculator. We need to clear our calculator again. And the inflow is $368. So that's our future value. Our present value is $259.44. That's our outflow, so we'll make that negative, and that's the present value. This project lasts for 3 years, and we are computing the interest rate. So the modified IRR, which is the interest rate we computed, is 12.37%. So that's the last step. So we have 3 steps to compute the modified IRR.